Committee. And before we begin, if you would, please call the roll.
Senator Herron. Senator Nemes.
Present.
Representative All. Representative Hodgson.
Here.
Co-Chair Williams.
Here.
Chair Lockett.
Here. We have a quorum. Do we do? All right. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved. We will get to our agenda, beginning with the Zayo Group. And you guys are at the table already. Please introduce yourself, and you may proceed with your testimony. I think your mic needs to be turned on.
Thank you for your technical
There we go.
assistance.
Thank you.
My name is Michael McCurley. I'm the president of Zayo Education and a senior vice president with the Zayo Group. Chairman Lockett, Chairman Williams, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today regarding Zayo Group and Zayo Education's role in providing connectivity to Kentucky's K-12 students and our interest in the ongoing contract litigation between the Kentucky Communications Network Authority and Open Fiber Accelicom. Before addressing the core of my remarks, I want to briefly introduce Zayo Group and Zayo Education. In 2022, Zayo Group, one of the largest internet service providers in the world and the largest independent open access fiber network operator in North America, acquired Education Networks of America, where I served as president, leading to the creation of Zayo Education. Zayo Group primarily serves government agencies, large enterprises, telecommunications carriers, and cloud and AI hyperscalers. While Zayo does not provide residential broadband service directly, and therefore is not as widely known to the general public, we play a critical middle-mile role supplying transport and backbone connectivity to many local internet service providers. In short, Zayo's fiber fuels innovation, delivering exceptionally high-capacity network connectivity to the nation's leading innovators, while also working to ensure that all Americans have access to the internet. Zayo Education, which is fully owned by Zayo Group, is one of the nation's largest or top E-rate service providers, supporting reliable, fully managed, high-capacity internet and communication services to over 20% of all U.S. public K-12 schools. Here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, we serve 100% of Kentucky K-12 public school districts in partnership with the Kentucky Department of Education. Our work supports districts of all sizes in the Commonwealth, from large urban systems to small rural schools, ensuring that all students have access to the digital tools they need to learn and succeed. We are proud of our strong partnership with KDE, which has previously testified to this committee about the high-quality, cost-effective services we deliver. Specifically, we provide 75% more bandwidth for 50% less cost than the Commonwealth's previous provider. We also focus on providing an exceptionally high-quality customer experience and have some of the highest customer satisfaction scores in the industry. In addition to connectivity itself, Zayo Education also provides cybersecurity and network protection services to help schools safeguard sensitive data and ensure learning continues uninterrupted. As this committee well knows, students depend on consistent digital access for virtually every aspect of learning, from classroom instruction and online testing to remote coursework, career exploration, and dual credit programs. Digital access is also critical for key administration tasks like grading, attendance, and financial management. And if I may add, as an aside, the Commonwealth of Kentucky has historically led the way in cloud-based services for education under the leadership of Kentucky Department of Education. What was once a helpful tool has now become an absolute necessity for teaching, learning, and all school operations. Regarding the ongoing contractual dispute between KCNA and Accelicom, Zayo Education is a neutral party, but a very interested one. We maintain positive working relationships with both organizations. However, we are deeply concerned that if not carefully managed, the outcome of this dispute could have serious unintended consequences for Kentucky's schools and students. Specifically, the Franklin County Circuit Court has requested a termination schedule outlining how all customers, including Zayo Education and the school districts it serves, would be affected if Accelicom's contract were terminated. We believe schools represent the largest portion of the user base currently connected to the next generation Kentucky Information Highway, or Kentucky Wired, and a sudden disruption could cause significant harm to educational continuity and educational outcomes across the Commonwealth. Even if Zayo Education were allowed direct access to NGKIH fiber, replacing the last mile connectivity and the technology layer that Accelicom currently provides to us would require both time and investment. Based on our analysis, the process to fully transition schools to a new network design could take at least 18 months. We would respectfully ask the committee to consider several guiding principles as it evaluates next steps. 1. Most importantly, keep students online. Any transition plan must prioritize uninterrupted connectivity for Kentucky students and educators. Ideally, major transitions should take place over the summer and/or winter breaks. 2. Strengthen future contracts. The next phase of Kentucky's broadband strategy should reinforce contractual clarity and accountability of all parties to prevent similar vulnerabilities, misunderstandings, and disputes in the future. 3. Ensure fairness and transparency. Any transfer or reassignment of assets should be managed through a fair, transparent process that protects taxpayers and end users. And finally, 4. Evaluate long-term structure. The Commonwealth should consider whether it remains in the broadband service business directly or if a different model could better support state agencies, schools, and communities. In closing, I want to thank the committee for its thoughtful attention to this issue. Zayo's top priority is simple. We want to keep students connected and learning. We look forward to working collaboratively with the Commonwealth to ensure that Kentucky's K-12 schools remain online, reliably, securely, and affordably. Thank you, and I welcome your questions. And I apologize again for my cold.
Oh, that is completely fine. Thank you so much for your testimony. I'm sure we do have several questions. Are there questions from members? Senator Williams?
Sure. Let me go first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think this committee wholeheartedly agrees with your 4 points of what we want to see happen. And in particular, when I'll call him Colonel Couch or Director Couch or Chief CIO Couch of KDE, or maybe one of these days Secretary Couch when we elevate the CIO to a cabinet position of the Commonwealth. So he wears a lot of hats, but in all of them, he has done a great job. And he was very complimentary of you in putting things together and really redirected our focus and hopefully of the Commonwealth to the students, to our, not just the students, but to our customers, the students being the largest body for all the schools. So we're very interested in making sure there is not any disruption in that. And I know you had some issues. I want to ask you about when we connected. He said there were some issues that we had early on in that you couldn't, KCNA started denying connections to the network, to Accelicom. So you had to work around those connections. And he expressed how that caused some disruptions to him, but was very complimentary toward you in that you were eating unexpected cost. Can you give us a order of magnitude of what those costs were? I mean, it was more expensive, what the nature of those costs were on that?
Yeah, so there are a couple of costs, and I want to be clear that although I don't speak for Mr. Kilby in this matter, I believe that Mr. Kilby and his firm have also eaten cost that they did not anticipate. Although, again, I don't speak for Acelicom
And for the
Mr.
record,
Kilby.
who's Mr.
Mr. Kilby is the CEO of Acelicom/Open Fiber.
Thank you.
So speaking from our own perspective, there were a number of issues as we got. So we won the contract, I believe. Well, in the winter of 2023. So February, I believe, of 2023. In that time frame, February or March of 2023, and we had essentially 15-ish months to get the network fully deployed to every school district in the Commonwealth, as well to the Kentucky Department of Education and a few other sites. And we were on track to do so throughout 2023 and leading into 2024. But at that time, in our experience, the contractual dispute between KCNA and Acelicom became more complicated. And there were sites that we had planned to be connected via Acelicom last mile fiber to the Kentucky Wired Network core, which is essentially displayed on this slide. And we couldn't use that process or that network. And Acelicom and we were forced to go to third parties to connect to those locations, far more than we had originally anticipated when we bid on the work. Now, I will say that Acelicom is essentially, to the degree that they can, they've been very good partners to us and provide us those circuits at essentially the same price as we would as if they were on NGKIH. However, there are a number of circumstances in which that's not possible, and we wind up eating the cost. In one recent incident, a school district, if you'll excuse
Certainly.
me for one moment. In one recent incident, a school district needed to move locations. We provide for moves, adds, and changes in our contract with the Kentucky Department of Education, and we do that at no cost. And we kind of assumed a certain cost for every move and made some business assumptions about how many moves there would be per year. And in this particular case, I believe we charge under $2,000 a month to serve this school district. And the one-time cost of building new network to that site was over $50,000 to us. So there's no way we will recover that cost under this contract term. I mean, we do it because we're here to serve and we want to be a good partner. We're in a business. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But those are situations in which we certainly did not anticipate when we walked into this arrangement. There were also credits or penalties when we failed to deliver on time. And those penalties were almost exclusively due to the fact that, again, excuse me, we had to make all these changes to network design at the end of the implementation.
Very good. Thank you. And I appreciate your concern for students. Is there having these, I know one of the reasons we really wanted to go with Kentucky Wired, everything was one network. It was all in the same sort of control network platform. So we can monitor it, we can deal with it. Is having this a continuous support issue for the students? Do we have outages? Do we have disruptions for these schools that are not on the networks, for these students that aren't there? What's been your experience with that?
So thank you for that question, Chairman Williams. I would say two things. One, in operating any complex network of this, that spans across the entire Commonwealth, and schools are a very complicated use case, right? They require significant cybersecurity. They have very particular usage patterns. So, and we, like as any other service provider would, sometimes have issues that we have to address. And that is true whether or not the individual school district is served by Kentucky Wired Fiber or by third-party network services. However, broadly, we have more issues with those sites that we consider type 2 or not directly connected to Kentucky Wired than those that we do. So yes, the number of incidents we have is higher when we are not able to use Kentucky Wired services through Acelicom.
Very good. And final question for somebody may want to ask. if NKGIH, or as vernacular, Kentucky Wired, were not available to you, what impact would that have upon the price at which you provide services to the schools or to the Commonwealth and our schools? Would that have a negative impact, positive? What significant?
Yes. So I'll answer that question a couple of different ways. One, we try to be as good of a partner to Kentucky Department of Education, to the Commonwealth as possible. We're under a long-term contract, and we would do what we could in order to provide alternate connectivity to these locations under our current contract terms. That being said, we never would have able to bid at the price that we bid to the Commonwealth without access to the Kentucky Wired. And it's unclear to us that if there is still a situation exists in the future in which either through our partnership with the Telecom or through some other direct access to the Kentucky Wired network, we would not be able to deliver the services that we are delivering today in a cost-effective manner.
Very good. And Mr. Chair, can I have one final question?
You get one more.
Final question.
One more.
Second final question is, so it seems like KCNA has gotten us in a situation where every vendor out there is suing somebody else that's involved in this network. It seems like you have a good, you and a Telecom, what's your relationship? Are you involved in the lawsuits out there at all, or do you continue to have a working relationship? Is that anticipated or not anticipated? I mean, I think you may be the only one that's not in a lawsuit, but you can confirm that in this.
We are not in a lawsuit with any of the concerned parties in this matter.
Okay, and you don't anticipate that?
We do not anticipate being in a lawsuit. Unless Brad does something crazy. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
No, we do not anticipate entering into any lawsuits in this matter.
That's very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Co-Chair. Are there any other questions from our members? Is Representative All online? He's not? Okay. Any other questions at all? All right. You mentioned your contract. How long is your contract?
That is a good question. It is for, I believe, it's for 5 plus 5 year possible extension, so a total of 10. Okay. And it started essentially in 2023.
Okay. And are there circumstances to which, when that contract comes up for renewal, that you would say, as Zayo, that you would say you would not want to renew that?
We could not renew it under the current price structure if we do not have access to NGKIH.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your testimony. No other members have questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we will move on in our agenda to our committee report to LRC, and my co-chair, Mr. Williams, Senator Williams, sorry, sir, would like to add a few remarks about our committee report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I just wanted the members to note that no good bill, no good report can't be improved by an amendment or two, which I have done over the years. And so there were a couple of changes in the first bullet point here. It was not just the infrastructure upgrades, but we added infrastructure purchases that we do not need to be purchased. Again, it is not our intent to be involved in any lawsuits. And what we want to do is, we're not in that process. That process is being worked out. We want to preserve our options and preserve all the money possible for the other end of the lawsuit. And nobody can tell me that this, or has yet shown me in the contract where these upgrades or these purchases are required. And I'm expecting that maybe on the other end of the lawsuit, we'll know something, and we'll have an audit next, not this session, but the following session. We'll have an audit. Hopefully all these lawsuits will be resolved somehow amicably. I'm a great optimist that something can be negotiated if we get the right people at the table. So we added infrastructure purchase, which is $12 million for the huts, and there's about $12 million in upgrades that were authorized last session that we think should not be expended and not be reauthorized in this current biennium or in future bienniums. And this is the sort of thing that I think this committee had been active. I want to congratulate Representative Pratt, who's no longer here, who had the vision for this committee. And we're sort of just getting into it, and we're sort of behind the stream here. But this is exactly the thing that this committee was created to do, to oversee technology. The other little nitpicky was on the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority and the water asset management projects, and this the ad districts and the water resource information system. So essentially, you see a figure here of $2.55 million. I want to say $1 million is what we've been expended to the ads, and that figure was set like 20 years ago. Okay, things have changed the last 20 years with technology, and we need to have some technology upgrades in KIA, because we're going to have some serious water issues in the future with water treatment, really, as well as distribution. And we need them to be able to know what assets we have in the ground, what assets, where our treatment options are. And this is really that is part of our oversight. So they need this so that we can it will save us money in $2.5 million. That's like one plant. Okay, and if we can save one plant by looking at the technology, we'll do that. And the number 2 bullet point, I just make water asset management. We're not our wheelhouse is not to say we ought to put money into water, but what we need to put money into is the asset management, particularly for these smaller districts that really are going to struggle to try to get water in this next generation, where water purification treatment is a lot more difficult than it has been. We need to let them manage their assets. We need to help them with software programs, technology. The Kentucky Rural Water Infrastructure Authority, infrastructure is working on that. And so we need to enable this so we can know what our infrastructure is in the field and move forward. So that's what these 2 items were, and that's why we adjusted, make clear that's the technology we're talking about and the collection of our information out in the field. Okay.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any questions from members? Any comments about the report? Anything you'd like to ask, point out? We have silent members today. All right. Well, very good. We are not required to vote on this as a committee, so we will not be voting on the report. It will be submitted to LRC as our recommendations. Moving on in the agenda, our next meeting will be in January. We are not going to meet in December, and allow our members to enjoy more time either at work, in a different job, or at home with their families. So meeting in January to be determined after the session committee schedule actually comes out. Are there any more questions or comments from our committee members? All right. Well, seeing none, we're adjourned.